Being is one of those things that's actually impossible to define. In its simplest sense, being is that sort of phantasmal presence that you sense anytime you're paying attention. Anytime you meet somebody, underneath who they appear to be, who they're presenting themselves as, underneath whether you like them or don't like them, find them agreeable or not agreeable, underneath all the sort of pretense, even the pretense of the color of our skin, right down to our gender, is this strange presence. That's what we actually meet when we meet each other. We meet a presence. Our whole culture seems to be set up. I don't think anybody planned it this way, it's just the way it happens. Set up to be basically a denial of being. Of a way to turn away from being. We're not really culturally set up to value being. We don't even have a real great word for it. Do you know? You go to other parts in the world, at least, you know, whether the average population, the average person you meet probably doesn't understand it any better than somebody here in the States, but you go to other parts in the world and at least there's some way of giving being a voice, do you know? To simply say namaste, you know? I honor that place in you where the whole universe resides. That's a direct connection to being to being, you know? In our culture we say hello, and hello is very much oriented towards the human, you know? Hi, what do you do? It's usually our first question when we get to know people, do you know? What do you do? Because we are so identified in the West with our doing, what we do. We find our sense of being through what we do, through what we accomplish, through what we achieve, through who we are as a personality. And so it's very natural for us to, when we're getting to know each other, to want to know what we do. What do you do? What's your occupation? Do you know all the rest? Being is not part of the introductory game that's played, do you know? The introductory game is about anything and everything but being. In that sense, it's sort of an unconscious, mostly, probably even unintended denial of being. Do you know? As I said, that sort of strange, not really strange, but in a certain sense strange, phantasmal presence. If we're not completely lost in our ideas about each other, we may get a sense that when we meet each other, we're actually meeting a presence, appearing as whatever your name is, you know, a presence appearing as, do you know, someone begging for money in the street, presence appearing as Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, or your average person, whatever that is. It's just what presence appears as, what being appears as. And the more we grasp at being, because being is what's calling us. That's the spiritual call. It's the call from being, from that presence that you meet, maybe if you're paying attention. There's two ways to go when you get to know somebody, especially when you get to know someone really, really, really well. I was just going to say, I just celebrated my 16th anniversary, wedding anniversary with Mukti yesterday, but we did it over the phone because she happens to be in LA teaching. But you know, when you get to know someone for a long period of time, your sense of them, where they are really deep, in a very deep place inside of you, can be held from two different places. One is from, I think what's conventional is the more you get to know somebody, the more predictable their behavior becomes, the more you can finish their sentences, the more, you just get to know the sort of the person quite well. And that's what we know. That's often what people pay attention to. And unfortunately, if you know somebody for a long period of time, you get to know them so well that you assume that you know them. Does that make sense? Do you know? Because if you can predict their behavior, you're going to ask them a question, you already know what their answer is going to be. Do you know? It's kind of like coming here and seeing me. You come here enough, you could probably predict with some accuracy what I'll say next. With a given question, the funny little man with little hair will spit out this answer. And that's one way of knowing somebody, But also, and so the consequence of that, of course, is at a certain point, something in us almost unconsciously decides, okay, I know you. And it kind of turns off, it kind of goes to sleep, I know you. Whether it's a friend or a neighbor or a lover or a husband or a wife or whatever it is. Something often, given enough time, kind of decides that, no, I know you. And it has lots of good evidence why that's true. So that's one way we know each other. But if you're really paying attention, there's something that's almost just the opposite. If you're really paying attention, the more you get to know someone, the more mysterious they become to you. Not on the exterior. You can still predict behavior and you might be able to finish their sentences and you know their idiosyncrasies. Not that becomes more mysterious to you, but something underneath all that. That all that exterior sort of behavior, if you're paying attention, becomes more sort of transparent. In other words, you can start to see through it, you sense through it. And so then the more you get to know somebody, the more you get the sense that you don't know them. Or there's something very, very mysterious about them that starts to come forward even more.